Friday morning, can't control it. Fired up and counting every minute. Hands are shaking, eyes are burning. The time has come, yeah, this is not a warning. The week was just so long, we had to let it go. Our problems disappeared, we're not tied up anymore. The weekend is here. Sunday calls, we are sick and tired of it. Up and down, can you feel it?
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Johansson show. It's Kat, and today got a special guest with me. He is Mr. Philippine Wrestling. He's one half of the PWOGs, and he's the first ever Philippine Wrestling Revolution Champion, Jake De Leon. Jake, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for having me on the Kurt Johansson show. Thank you so much. I am excited to be here and talk to you about wrestling and a lot of other stuff.
I'm really excited, and it's my first guest from the Philippines.
Oh,
so
I'm
really excited. Obviously, it's been quite clear now. I've been doing like a tour through Southeast Asia, and really excited to have one half of the OGs on the show. We've been talking quite a bit over the past few weeks. Excited to talk more about your career and what you've been doing during lockdown. I know you do a lot of Twitch stream gaming, which we've spoken about, and we'll get into that later and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you so much for having me. And I'm definitely honored to be your first Philippine guest. That is big for me, honestly. So thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you've been doing around Southeast Asia, the guys and girls in pro wrestling in Southeast Asia. Thank you for giving them a platform.
Nice, you're welcome. And so to start things off, then, why professional wrestling? I'm going to be a professional wrestler.
Well, it was. I've told this story many, many times. The first time I ever saw pro wrestling was a bloody-faced Stone Cold Steve Austin being stepped on by. I think at the time it was the Undertaker or it was Kane, one of those two. And then I think I just got grabbed. I was 4 years old back then. I just got grabbed into by the theatrics, the larger-than-life personalities, the characters, the action, of course. As a young boy growing up, you see that kind of action-packed lifestyle, and I always thought, I didn't really think of it growing up. I always thought of it that it was cool, but growing up, I never thought of wanting to be a wrestler until the opportunity presented itself, and I just realized recently that I really want to be some sort of entertainer, and wrestling for me was an avenue to it was something that I loved, and then it was also an avenue to be an entertainer and to make everyone happy. And of course, I'm really I'm a physical, competitive person also, so pro wrestling was pretty cool for me.
Yeah. So you mentioned the opportunity presented itself. Then, so how did that present itself?
So in the Philippines, there's no wrestling schools back then. When I was growing up, there were no wrestling schools. When I was in college, I actually tried looking up professional wrestling schools here in the Philippines. There were a couple of amateur wrestling ones, but there weren't really any ones for pro wrestling. So the opportunity presented itself when I was already working. I was already out of college, and I was at my first job. And then I saw this Facebook group starting something up. They called themselves Philippine Wrestling Revolution. So they wanted to start training. They wanted to make their own promotion. So I initially went into it thinking, okay, I want to be part of something that's in professional wrestling. I want to be a wrestler, but if I don't make it, I'm okay with being their marketing guy because that is my day job.
Yeah.
So I went into that, and then we had our first training, and I did pretty well in it, and the rest is history. Now I stand here as a guest on your show.
So who's training this initial setup? Because again, you mentioned there's no wrestling scene, so it's essentially a group of you self-teaching yourself. Was that the case?
Yeah, it definitely was the case. So our first trainer, who was also one of us, his name was Bombay Suarez. He had this wrestling DVD for, I think, I forgot what the name it was, but it was John Cena's wrestling school. So it was you can see this on YouTube also. It was the DVD where it was John Cena, Samoa Joe, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, all showing people the basic wrestling moves. So we started off with that. We started off teaching each other, trying moves on each other, learning how to roll, learning how to bump, everything. That was how it started. But then eventually, our little group kind of caught wind with other professional wrestlers who also were Filipino abroad. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar. A guy named Sosai King around there in the UK. He's also wrestling. I don't remember what promotion he's in right now, but he was one of the
Yeah.
first guys that came over and helped teach us like the proper way of wrestling training. So
Oh, great.
yeah, we backyarders and teaching each other tricks, but like we're lucky enough to like have people come over and teach us actually how to do things also.
And what year was this? Like, when was this all happening?
This was happening back in 2014. Everything started in 2014. The funny story actually was a show that Tajiri brought from Japan to the Philippines. So we were there front and center. It was like a January 2014 show. And then from
Yeah.
then on, we just like, all right, we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna keep on keeping on, and then that's where we are today.
And like the growth over 6 years like is fantastic, especially like across Southeast Asia as well. Like every scene seems to be growing and getting a lot stronger, and I think it's just like the drive, determination, and the passion from quite a lot of you based out there is what's helping it grow. So what was it like? So you've just been training and now you're doing your first show. You've seen what
Mm.
Tajiri can put on with a
Yeah,
company from Japan, and now you're
yeah.
like, right, we're gonna do our first ever show. What was going through your mind at that point?
I there was a lot of things going through my mind back then because I wasn't only a wrestler. I was also like part of technically like management. I also
Yeah.
was helping out like run the shows and everything. The things that were running through my mind, I just wanted to like have people actually show up because like the way we promoted this thing, it was all through social media. It was all pretty much word of mouth. We were expecting maybe around just like 20 people to go to our first actual show,
Yeah.
but we were lucky to have like around 100 actually come around. So that
Wow.
was cool for me because the thing with the Philippines is there's such a drought of
Yeah.
professional wrestling that I think that when we actually put up our first show, a lot of people like wanted to check it out either to make fun of it or like actually see if there's actually wrestling in the Philippines. And then as a wrestler, I like the way I was thinking back then. I was like, I just want to have fun. I just want to have a good time. I just want to make sure that I put on a good show for all the fans that do come out. And luckily enough, we did just that. Actually, the first show we ever had, like we had before the actual first show, we had a test show for like friends and families where
Yeah.
it was just like 15 people in the crowd. So we started from there, and then when we actually promoted the stuff, we were lucky enough to have like 100 people come on.
Wow. Like 100 people on your first show is like absolutely that's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
so what was the nerves like when you look through the curtain and you've got 100 people sat there and it's your first show and anything could happen?
There were a lot of nerves like backstage waiting for waiting for my match, honestly. But like when I went out and then I saw the people and then I just felt the energy and then I was giving them the energy back. It was just all happiness, all good vibes for me because I just wanted to make sure that they had fun. So I shook everyone's hand coming out because like my Jake De Leon character back then, it was more of a the señorito character is basically our landowner in the Philippines, so it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a bad guy. But the thing back with the bookers back then, they thought I was too much of a good guy because I like had a good smile and everything. So I played up the politician role, went out there, shook everyone's hand, hoped everyone had a good time. The nerves were definitely there. I was definitely shaking in my boots before I went out, but as I went out, it felt like I was finally home.
Yeah. Wow. So like what was the atmosphere like after the show then, just between you and like your friends, your colleagues, where you've done it, you've had 100 people, show's gone smoothly, nothing's drastically gone wrong, and 'cause at that point was you running like every 3 months?
Yeah, at that point we were running around like 4 shows a year, so every 3 months, 3 to 4 months. The feeling of everyone after the first ever show, there was a mix of like happiness, excitement, and of course relief because our first show was done. We were more excited for the fact that 100 people came, even though we were expecting around like 20 of them,
Yeah.
and it showed us that okay, there is a thing here. There is a possibility like wrestling, like our promotion in the Philippines, actually run by Filipino wrestlers, could actually be viable. So that was like a huge confidence boost for us because when we were training, we just really wanted to have fun with it. We just wanted to like try to become professional wrestlers because there was no one that could do that for us in the Philippines. So now after that first show, we see that people actually enjoyed, people had fun. Okay, this was something that we could start up, we could build, and yeah, like 6 years later, that's where we are.
That's crazy. So like, how does it feel knowing that you are one of like the founding fathers? Like you've got it on there on your bandana, you've got it on the hat right there. Like you're one of the PWOGs.
It's definitely a proud thing for me being like an OG of Philippine wrestling because I don't care what anyone says. Honestly, if the people who didn't like if the people who started it weren't around, I'm pretty sure nothing like this wouldn't have happened. As much as many people think that maybe even though you weren't around, this would still happen. It takes someone to light the spark. So being like an OG, like being one of the people that actually lit the spark, and then the fans being like as Ayaz mentioned, it is APAC promo for the new APAC wrestling promo. So we need the people to light the spark. We need the OGs to light the spark, and then the fans and then the people supporting the OGs to like breathe life into the fire. So it's a proud moment for me being like one of the OGs, knowing that the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears that I put into the Philippine wrestling industry has blossomed into this now. Yeah, it's all proud for me. Like I'm gonna take all the credit. I'm gonna take as much credit as I can.
Yeah. No, and you should. Like, hindsight's a funny thing. Like, it's all well and good saying, well, if you guys didn't step up, somebody else might have stepped up like a year later, and that
Yeah.
might have happened. But the fact is, it didn't happen
Yeah.
until you guys did it. So the fact that somebody might have done it down the road doesn't really matter. All that matters is you and your bunch of your core group there. It was you guys that made it happen and blossom into this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's my way of thinking.
There we go. You just frozen for a little bit. Yeah, so
Sorry.
so you should take all the credit you deserve. Like, and definitely, I like the merch. You can tell you're into marketing. You do. You market yourself brilliantly with the PWOGs with Ken Warren, and
Yeah.
so I want to go like a couple of shows in. So you've been main eventing, because I believe you main evented the first show.
I main evented around almost the first year of PWR. So yeah.
So obviously they did like a qualifying for the championship, and I introduced you as the first Philippine Wrestling Revolution Champion,
Yeah.
beating Bombay Suarez, who you mentioned earlier. So
Yeah.
how was that feeling? The fact that I know it was short-lived, I believe.
Yeah.
Brian Leo took it, but
Yeah.
you still, like I said earlier, you can't take away from what's happened and use the
Yeah.
first PWR champion. So how does that feel to have that feather in your cap?
First of all, I'd like to really commend you for like doing your research because that is a long time ago. So thank you for doing your research. Being the first PWR champion, again, it is a feather in my cap. I am very proud of it because there is a story behind that. Because I like when we were starting PWR, I had that championship tournament, and then we were building up to it. I really wanted Bombay to win because Bombay was the guy who trained everyone, and he there would be no Philippine wrestling without Bombay because he trained me, and then like later on I trained the rest of the Philippine wrestlers out there right now. So I really wanted Bombay to be the first champion, but it was actually Bombay that told everyone else like, no, I should be the first champion. So it was really heartwarming for me. It was really like a very humbling moment that Bombay would say that because, like he was my trainer. I learned everything I did. I learned like a lot of wrestling from him, honestly, and just for him to tell me and then tell the bookers back then that no, I should be the champion. Like more on top of like being the first like Philippine wrestling champion back then, it just adds like a happiness to me knowing that I got that respect from my trainer and the rest of my peers.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I mentioned, it ended up being short-lived, but you soon became a two-time champion. So,
Yeah.
when you was winning it that second time and going and having it for a longer run, like how did you feel when getting told, right, we're putting the belt on you again, and you're gonna survive the show, you're gonna survive more shows?
Yeah. So when I won the belt for the second time, I felt that okay, I finally won it the second time. It wasn't like a 30-second title reign.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to do more with it. I feel like there could have been much more that I could have done in that second run. I am still very happy with that second run. I had like a great match back then with Brian Leo and Ralph Mabayashi for like in the three-way in that Revolution X, and then just kept adding on and adding on. But I know that I could have done more. I just felt like I didn't do more or do enough that I could. But I'm happy with the time that I spent with the belt. I'm happy with. So basically, the last time I ever held like the PWR Championship was around 2016. So that was a long time ago. Like honestly, in me, like if I was still with PWR, I would definitely love like another run with it and show what I could do, like what JDL, what a Jake De Leon 6 years after the fact can do with the championship belt. But we probably won't find that out for a long time.
Well, never say never. Obviously, in wrestling, all sorts can happen. Am I right in thinking the one of the matches you had? I don't know if it was a match you lost, and like, excuse me for pronunciations, like incorrect, but like a backlog bull rope, was it?
Bacolod, yeah, Bacolod bull rope match, yeah.
How was that having a bull rope in what you've been wrestling for 2 years and you're like, yeah, I'll have a bull rope match.
That was my idea. That was my stupid idea because I wanted like. So the story was I faced John Sebastian back then. That was we were having like a series of matches for the championship. So I wanted like a stipulation on the second match so that it's not like the same old singles match. So I thought, all right, let's do a bull rope match. I'm a huge fan of bull rope matches because one of my favorite wrestlers ever is Dusty Rhodes. So second year in doing a bull rope match with a cowbell that the cowbell that doesn't make any sound because some cowbells actually have like the bell inside them. The cowbell I bought was for like drummers where it was like hollow and empty. So we would actually need to smack each other just so that it makes sound. So we were actually hitting each other with that bell, and then like wrestling with a bull rope was hard enough in itself. So that was, I think we bit off more than we could chew. But like for the first ever bull rope match in the Philippines, I think we did pretty well. There has never been another bull rope match since. I'm waiting to see one happen. But I'm happy with that match. I like that match.
So you mentioned Dusty. So was there any matches in particular that you was watching and like studying in the lead up to your bull rope match?
I watched the one he had with Superstar Billy Graham and the one that he had with Randy Orton. It was a strap match, I think. So those were the two that I studied. It was I think one. No, it wasn't the four corner thing. They were really just strapped together. So yeah, it was. From what I could see, it was just like really brawling, beat down kind of stuff. So we tried to like go into the crowd as much as we can. We tried to incorporate as many weapons as we can. Like it was funny because like for example, someone would go up the top rope and then the other one would just pull him down with a rope and then like flip over and then fall down on his ass. Yeah, it was definitely hard to like understand the psychology of it, knowing that you were stuck to your opponent and everything. But yeah, it was a great challenge for me. It was a fun challenge for me back then, and I would definitely love to do another bull rope match if I had the chance.
So you mentioned earlier, like you was again one of the core groups that trained together, and then you started training a lot of the other Filipino wrestlers. How's that been for you, knowing these people that are wrestling right now, and you as their trainer? And have you managed to share the ring with any of them, where it's been quite a surreal moment because you're facing one of your students?
There's been a lot of moments like that. I think there was one, like the one that really speaks to me, like from all the people that I've trained and then I actually faced them. One that speaks to me was actually the one when I faced Vlad Sinsic in like a singles match. So I faced him in a singles match, and then he was one of my students. And then I love Vlad Sinsic. I love his character. I love like how he's such a deranged maniac, but he's really soft spoken. And then he really like I'm when it comes to working, I like a snug approach. So I really tell him like, if you're gonna hit me, lay it on, lay it on. So like there was that one time that he gave me like a clothesline from hell type of move, and he laid it on so thick that I actually spun out and like into a moonsault. So that was cool for me.
Nice.
So I like that match. And also like the month after, we were in a tag team match against Masa Takanashi and DJ Nira from DDT. So that was also another highlight, like getting to share the ring with one of my students as a tag team partner. And then we were facing off against Japanese wrestlers from DDT. So that was a fun time for me. And basically, I really love any time that like I like teach like I really love teaching. I'm more of like a coach person than like a management kind of person.
Yeah.
So I really love teaching people that really love to learn. And when I share the ring with them, like certain people like Crystal, like Gemerlin, like Jan Evander also, who's a great guy from PWR. When I share the ring with them and then we have like a fun match, I'm happy. That's all I need.
Yeah. How do you feel the fact that like WWE are paying attention to like the Southeast Asian scene and doing tryouts and things like that? Like, how does that feel to see that a scene that you've been helping build now opportunities are coming for people to try out?
When it makes me speechless, honestly, because I never thought that whatever we were doing back in 2014 would actually get the attention of the WWE. Maybe they already had an idea to go to Southeast Asia. Maybe they heard some rumblings through the Philippines or whatever. Or like, of course, they heard about things in Singapore, in Thailand, in Malaysia. So maybe let's see if the Philippines has one. But it was just a really big surprise to get that email from them back in 2017 when they wanted to check out a show, and then like, yo, we gotta put on a show. We gotta make a good show for the WWE, and they came that first time. It's just surreal for me because I never thought that whatever we were doing, our humble passion project, would be able to get the attention of like the big corporation that is WWE and like the big promotion that is WWE. So it's sometimes I still can't believe it, but I'm happy that it happened.
The show that they came to watch, like, who was you facing on that show? Do you remember?
Again, it was John Sebastian. That was like our third. That was a trilogy we had. So that was our third match against each other, and then yeah, that we again main event championship match, and that was just a fun night.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, like, am I right in thinking there was yourself and Cristal that was part of the tryout? Was there anybody else from the Philippines that got the opportunity?
Ken Warren was part of the tryout also.
Yeah.
That's where the PWOGs was born, actually. Because like I've been trying to get Ken into a tag team with me for so long, and then it finally took the WWE to actually convince him. Like, oh, so we were at the tryout right back in 2019. So we were at the tryout, and then they were like gonna have some practice matches with some of the wrestlers there.
Yeah.
And they put me and Ken Warren in a tag team together against Bad Company from Thailand. So I'm telling Ken, even the WWE thinks we have to be a tag team, so we got to be a tag team now. So he finally gave in.
So what was that whole experience like then? Because I can't, even though I've spoken about it a couple of times, like, where was the tryouts held again?
It was held in Shanghai, China. So that was in 2019. There were the three of us from the Philippines. It was a whole big Southeast Asian and China contingent. People from Southeast Asia, some people from Japan, Hong Kong, Thailand. So we were there for, I think, 4 to 5 days, just training every day, getting trained by guys like Matt Bloom, Serena Deeb, Robbie Brookside. That was just like a magical experience. It was the toughest experience I've ever had. Like, I could not feel my body every morning, but we still had to go to training every day. So I just powered through it, and to me, it was one of my fondest memories ever, like in my life.
Yeah. Now, and to be sharing it with Crystal and Ken Warren, I'm sure that's a big thing. So, did you help train Crystal then?
I helped train her a little bit. Like, she came in pretty early. Bombay was still around training people, but then when Bombay left, I sort of like also helped like keep training Crystal, basically. So yeah, I have a hand in training Crystal also.
Yeah. So is that one of your goals? There's been a lot of rumors before where WWE might open their own company in Asia, and whether that's Japan or Malaysia or India or somewhere like that. And they've done it here in the UK. So we've got NXT UK, but they take people from France, Spain, Italy, Germany, Austria, Russia, So they don't just look in UK, they look at all the neighboring countries.
Yeah.
Do you think like NXT Japan or NXT Asia could be something that happens?
I think like before the coronavirus thing happened, I think they were already like setting the gears in motion for it. I was hoping that they would set the gears in motion because if it were in like I don't know China, Japan, or like whatever NXT Asia or Japan it was, like I definitely would feel like they would look outside and also see guys from the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and see the talent that is in Southeast Asia. I think the thing that people don't really realize about the talent in Southeast Asia, it's pretty much all homegrown. Like
Yeah.
we don't get a lot of outside help, barring the fact that maybe from the neighboring countries, like with trainers like Maso Takanashi, Emi Sakura that come over and like have
Yeah.
shows with us and give us trainings. But that's really few and far between. So whatever we're doing within our own country, that's 90% of the time it's just us trying to help teach each other, elevate each other. So honestly, if they do make something like an NXT Asia or an NXT Japan, and then they help bring that training to our guys, and then our guys come there, it will just keep elevating the industry more. So I would definitely love to like see that happen.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah,
And I think some like there'd be two people that I think would be great as trainers as well. There's obviously Ho Ho Lun. He's done so
yeah,
much for the Southeast Asian wrestling scene, and you mentioned her, Emi Sakura. Like everybody I interview, whether it's from Singapore and
yeah,
whether it's Grapple Max or Singapore Pro Wrestling, or if it's from Malaysia or now with the Philippines, everybody's like Emi Sakura, Emi Sakura.
yeah,
She helped, and it's great to see that because I know she was doing. She's got Gato Move and she did Gato Move Thailand, uh,
yeah.
but it's great to see that she's in so many people's stories of this person helped me grow, and I reckon she definitely would deserve that sort of trainer role.
Yeah, I definitely want like Emi Sakura. She is the unsung hero of Southeast Asian pro wrestling because she just helps everyone. Honestly, like she helps the all the wrestlers in Singapore. She helped definitely Thailand. The talent in Thailand is amazing. I cannot say this enough. Also, the people in Malaysia are amazing. It was all pretty much a lot of like a big help thanks to Emi Sakura because she goes out of her way because she wants to. I think it's because she wants to travel the world and like see many different wrestling cultures also. But the work that she's done with Gato Move, the work that she's done in AEW, the work that she's done everywhere in Southeast Asia should be like enough for anyone to think that she is a Hall of Famer wherever there is a Hall of Fame
Yeah.
for whatever she's doing. She's a great example of like just a great wrestler and a great teacher. And the fact that, as you mentioned, there's a lot of people that mention her in your interviews, all the more like, okay, Emi Sakura is one of the best people in the world for me.
No, that's great to hear. And so you mentioned like wrestling scene in Thailand, and you've been to Shanghai for your tryouts. Have you managed to wrestle in any of the other neighboring countries?
I've wrestled in Thailand. I've wrestled in Singapore. I've wrestled in Malaysia. Technically, that means I have also wrestled in China for the WWE Tryout thing. I have, yeah, that's. I've wrestled in Hong Kong also. So like I've been around. I've been around the Southeast Asian
Yeah.
scene a little bit. Yeah.
What was your when and what was your first like international booking away from the Philippines then?
My first international booking away from the Philippines was actually this. It was a company called let me Asian Wrestling Entertainment, so AWE.
Yeah.
It used to run in Malaysia. They survived for like 3 shows and then they're gone. So it was actually Shaukat that helped me get my first booking internationally, which is why I'm a really huge fan of Shaukat. I also love the match that we had recently back in 2019. But yeah, that was my first booking outside. That was 2017 in December. We wrestled in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, and it was just a blast getting to be able to wrestle in front of people that have a different culture as you, that are like, you don't know how these people are going to react at
Yeah.
all. And I'm just happy like they kind of ate up whatever stupid WWE style comedy wrestling stuff we did.
Yeah. So what was it like wrestling in like Hong Kong and Singapore then?
Hong Kong, it was interesting because I was actually in Hong Kong during the time that the rallies were still very strong for like the like the political things that were happening in Hong Kong. The name escapes me right now, but that was interesting for me because I went to Hong Kong straight right after the WWE tryout. So
Yeah.
that was like the 2 weeks after it. So I went there, and it was a great feeling, and it was a great feeling to wrestle in Hong Kong because I also respect Ho Ho Lun as one of like the people that really helped the Southeast Asian wrestling scene grow. It was great to wrestle in Hong Kong Wrestling Federation for him.
Yeah.
The matches were great. It was fun, like getting to see also the styles of wrestling that Hong Kong wrestlers do. The funny thing was like during the whole weekend, because like it was a weekend wrestling show, there was a storm also that happened in Hong Kong. So it wasn't that many people, but the amount of people that did come, they enjoyed. My favorite story of that weekend is like and on the second day, I won the tag team match with my tag team partner Rex Lawin from the Philippines, and then some guy threw beer in the ring, and I actually caught the beer, and then I drank it in the ring. So that was a funny moment for me. Singapore, I also really love wrestling there. I love wrestling for SPW, and getting to wrestle guys like Andruew Tang and Trexxus, and I also wrestled like Russian guys like Locomotive. It's just getting to be able to fly out and wrestle in different countries and like hone my craft in front of different kinds of audiences and see if like what I do in the Philippines also works in these kinds of audiences. It's always been a great pleasure, and like I'm always very thankful for these promotions that book me outside of the Philippines because this is like what I want to do. This is where I want to be as a wrestler. I want to go around in different places and then just keep bringing my craft to people and then make them entertained.
Yeah. So you mentioned how good the talent is in involvement out there. So what was your experience like wrestling in Thailand?
So I wrestled in Thailand in 2018 for the Swasti Cup. So that was actually the first time I ever met Emi Sakura because she had some trainings back then, like during the Swasti Cup, she was training the Thai wrestlers. So I would join, and then I saw like how good she was, and then these Thai wrestlers, their wrestling skills, their wrestling techniques, like up close, they are very good. Like I really want to get into the ring with some of these Thai wrestlers. Also, I was supposed to wrestle Shivam like this year before the coronavirus hit. I was supposed to go to Thailand for Setup Pro Wrestling, and then wrestle him, but like I didn't get the chance. So, but just seeing, because like I think in Thailand, they also have like a heavy influence. Definitely since because of Emi Sakura, because of the Japanese style, their influence. So all of their wrestling skills are like just really clean, man. Just seeing it like straight up, like me coming from the Philippines, not really trained all that well, being starting off as a backyarder and then getting tips here and there from other from other pros, and then seeing how they train, seeing everything that they do. It was just a lot of fun for me to be in that environment.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the coronavirus and the impact that's had. And I've seen like you've been filling a lot of your time up since you can't be out there wrestling, doing your gaming, doing your Twitch streaming.
Yeah.
So how's that been for you? Like, what games have you been streaming? I know you've been doing the Nuzlocke rules, is it, on
Yeah.
Pokemon?
Yeah, Pokemon Nuzlocke rules. So I've been streaming on Twitch because I just needed to fill my time and, of course, keep my name out there as an entertainer, as a professional wrestler. So I've been streaming like a Pokemon Nuzlocke run. So a Nuzlocke is basically like added rules onto a Pokemon game. So the normal Pokemon game is when your Pokemon faint, you can still technically revive them and like use them again.
Yeah.
But like someone, I don't know how long ago back then, had the idea like if your Pokemon faints, you can't use it anymore. You have to release it. So I've been playing that every Saturdays on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/SenoritoJDL. So far, I've lost 4 Pokemon, and each Pokemon that I've lost has hurt me so badly. So technically, if you're following me on Twitch and like watching me on Twitch, you're gonna see a lot of my pain and anguish from losing the Pokemon that I have raised for so long. Also, I stream a lot of retro games, so I've basically been like getting back into like some retro games. I just finished Punch Out like last month. So
Okay.
like the Mike Tyson Punch Out games
Yeah.
from the NES system back then. So I just finished that. That was the first time I ever finished that. So right now I'm playing Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, because
Oh,
these are like games that I knew the were around, was not able to play. So thankfully, because of the Nintendo Switch, they have like this repertoire of like the old games. So I have
Yeah.
that to rifle through and then just keep playing. Yeah. So
Yeah, I love Link to the Past.
oh, I'm loving it right now. Like it's a challenge for me because I started off with Breath of the Wild. I started off with Ocarina of Time, played Breath of the Wild, and then I'm just trying to look for all the old Zelda games that I can play.
Was it A Link to the Past, the one that they've kind of remastered and remade?
Yes, I think they remastered it for. I'm not sure. I'm
I think
not
it was
sure
for the
where.
free. I think it was for like the 3DS or the 2DS, I believe.
Ocarina of Time was remade for the 3DS,
Yeah.
and then I think they also remade. Forgot the one where Link, like the one where it's all water. I forgot
Yeah.
that one. The name of that one. Wind Waker. They also did that. I think they remade that. So yeah, but actually the streaming thing actually came from a funny story because I was just like bored, basically with what was happening with the Philippines, so we were stuck at home. So Ken Warren and I did this whole this interview series called PWOG Live, where we did it on Instagram Live, and then we interviewed people, and then okay, we wanted to take a break from this thing, so I was thinking, okay, what can I do after? So I was scrolling on YouTube, and then I saw this guy named Markiplier, like one of the top YouTube stars out there, and he was just like like it was all videos of his gameplay, and he was just really funny. And then I just got inspired by him to like try streaming out also, and then that's where I am right now.
Oh no, brilliant! Like, 'cause I've been seeing some like the videos. You had one of your guests on, and you showing like where you was hitting the chicken until all of them start flying at you and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah, yeah,
that. And I guess it's a good way. Just again, you'd be playing it anyways, so yeah,
yeah,
why not record it and
yeah.
end up putting it out there? And nah, it's good with the Nuzlocke rules. Like, is there any more additional rules? I think I was reading like, can you
Yeah.
only like capture one Pokemon from each? Is it each set of grass or is it each like route?
Uh,
Yeah,
it's each like new area you're in. So like if you go into a new area, let's say for example, like you're at Route 2, you can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in that route. So if for example you meet a Pokemon and then you accidentally kill it, you can't catch any more Pokemon in that area. So
oh wow.
yeah, so you got to be smart with it also. So if you need like a certain kind of Pokemon, you got to be able to like make sure that no other Pokemon hits you. So it's easier with the newer games because there are Pokemon that show up on screen, so you know what's there. But there are
Yeah.
also Pokemon that like hide in the grass, don't really show up in like the overworld. So you really got to think about it too. So that's why I enjoy doing the Nuzlocke. I mean, it's really taxing on your emotions because of how long you spent with these
Yeah.
Pokemon, and you're also forced to nickname them so that you
More of
grow
a
more
bond.
attached to them. So yeah, that like I've lost four so far, and they've all hurt. But right now I'm still alive because I've seen people do some Nuzlocke runs. They actually failed. That all of their Pokemon died. So that was like yeah.
I may have to give it a go on one of the like old ones. I know on my 3DS, I think I've got like red, blue, or yellow on there. I've got
Yeah.
Omega Ruby and Sapphire. Another one on there, I believe. I think it's like Sun. Yeah, I think
Sun,
it's Sun.
yeah, Sun and
Uh,
Moon, yeah.
I might try one of the Nuzlocke rolls. And have you lost one of your starter Pokemon yet?
Not yet. Like, thankfully, my starter Pokemon are still with me. I still have my Sobble that is already in like the third evolution. I'm just like it was a close one. Like last night, there was a close call, almost died, but thankfully, because your starter Pokemon usually isn't the one that dies. Usually, your starter
Yeah.
Pokemon is the one that lasts with you all until the end, unless you're really careless with it. So far, it seems like that's gonna happen with me.
See, I can imagine these rules would be really hard on yellow because you start with
Yeah.
Pikachu. If you don't see Mankey as your first
Mm,
Pokemon,
yeah.
like when you go down as if you're gonna go to the like for the elite, like
Yeah.
then you can't get Mankey like if it's
Yeah.
not the first one that comes up.
You're gonna have trouble
So
with Brock.
yeah, Pikachu's not surviving Brock if you've not caught Mankey.
Exactly. Exactly.
I might have to give it a try and then hell abuse at you when my Pikachu dies straight away.
Go for it. Go for it, man.
Oh, brilliant. So yeah, who is it that you've been getting doing your guest training? Like, where can people find her content as well whilst we're talking about it?
Oh, wait, sorry. The guest that my
Yeah.
streaming guest. So that's my girlfriend. It's
Okay.
her name is Jula Agbayani. She's actually a voice actress in the Philippines. So she has her Facebook page, Jula Agbayani dash voice actor. So just search it on YouTube. She's also at Pretty Bad Juju on Twitter and Instagram if you guys want to check her out. So because we live together, so sometimes she streams with me. It's an excuse for her to put on her makeup because she loves her makeup, and just look pretty on the camera. And then obviously I always love her company because she's not really that big into gaming. So she
Yeah.
asks questions to keep people engaged also. And then just I'm just happy that I'm showing her this world of video games that she has not been able to really immerse herself in when she was growing up. So that's what I am happy like whenever she's on stream.
Ah, no, that's good. So let's get back to like the wrestling side of things then. In your Twitter bio and Ken Warren's Twitter bio, we've got free agent. You're
Yeah.
going to PWOGs, no longer with Philippine Wrestling Revolution. Like, how come you decided to take a step away from PWR?
Well, there was a lot of things that happened like in the past few months around the June July time. Basically, we released a statement like there's a group of guys from PWR that decided to like step away from it because of basically the bullying and the toxicity within the organization. Like, yeah, we are the OGs, and then we should have been able to try to help like mold the culture a little bit, but
Yeah.
also we feel that at the time it was a bit too far gone already, and obviously we are not also blind to our own faults as people. We know we also make mistakes. We know we also hurt people, whether it is like on purpose or inadvertently. But we felt like, as we also mentioned in the statement, we felt that we did not want to like keep on feeding to that culture anymore, which is why we stepped away. We felt that it was like time to step away,
Yeah.
try to do our own thing, like, and yeah, we'll see where it goes because we just didn't want to like be in the culture that for our mental health sake and also for our moral health, emotional health, everything health, we wanted to be in a place where we could just mentally heal also. So stepping away, we felt that would have been the best move, and obviously there was no wrestling happening, and we just wanted to like do what was best for us at the time. And then I wish all the best for PWR moving forward, honestly. It's still definitely, I still definitely love that place. It is still definitely the place that made who JDL is today.
Yeah.
But for whatever internally the culture was happening at the time, it was just not healthy at all, and we decided like stepping away would be the best. That's basically it. That's why Ken Warren and I and many others are also free agents now. So
Yeah. Is there any other companies based in the Philippines?
there are like two other companies to what I know. There's Manila Wrestling Federation, and there is World Underground Wrestling. So I think they stemmed from like a company either in Europe or Japan, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there are two other countries. So far there are three wrestling promotions in the country.
Yeah. So what does the future hold for JDL? What does the future hold for the PWOGs?
Well, we're waiting definitely for the Rona to go away so that we can, we've always, me and Ken, we've talked about this. We wanted to be like a tag team that goes around Southeast Asia, like goes abroad. Because honestly, I love tagging with a dude. I love hanging out with a dude. Ken, I hope I hope the feeling is mutual. Ken, if you're watching this, I hope the feeling is mutual. But we wanted to like bring our tag team out there, face tag teams like Bad Company, like Onslaught, of course, which is Andruew Tang and Trexxus. We wanted to like bring tag team wrestling out to Southeast Asia because like there's not a lot of times that actually that tag teams like fly out and then wrestle in other countries. So we wanted to like do that as like the Philippine contingent. Obviously, we also want to do our own thing. We can still do like the singles wrestling stuff, but bring the PWOG's merch, bring the PWOG's marketing, the brand out to different places in Southeast Asia. Hopefully, people notice, and then Ken and I get to have fun a lot of different places.
Oh, brilliant. So, excuse me, what with one of the places, so we've seen the announcement come through, Shao Kat, you mentioned it earlier, with
Mm.
APAC Wrestling, so Asian Pacific Wrestling. Like, I don't know too much details about it. I probably know just as much as anybody else, but it seems like it's going to be what we've been talking, and a bit like what NXT Asia would be, where
Yeah,
he wants to bring everything together. Is
yeah.
that something that would be on your bucket list to be working with Shao Kat with APAC?
Yeah, definitely. I want to work with Shao Kat in APAC. Like I saw the promo, I saw the teaser for it. Um, like from what I heard, I think he wants to do like weekly shows. He wants to bring people around the Southeast Asian region, give people like us a platform. Get like make wrestling more commercial for this region because in Southeast Asia, pro wrestling really isn't a thing yet. So I'm
Yeah.
really happy and big congratulations to Shao Kat for all that he's done, all that he's doing with pro wrestling here in the region. And definitely it is on, like right now, after seeing the promo, it is on my bucket list to wrestle for APAC Wrestling and bring whatever Philippine flavor I can to his promotion. And yeah, it's always a fun time working with Shao Kat too. He has knocked he has knocked my face off a lot of times, slapped my face off a lot of times. I've kicked him in the face a lot of times. So yeah, definitely would like a run with them too. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
So, what other goals do you have in wrestling?
My other goals in wrestling right now is to make it like the most immediate one is to wrestle in Japan. So I really like I wanted to go to Japan this year until, you know, the coronavirus hit. I wanted to train with Gato Move. I wanted to like go around and, you know, kind of like see whatever dojos or whatever places will take me like to train with them because
Yeah.
I really respect the Japanese style. I really love the Japanese style of wrestling. A, a lot of my wrestling game also comes from the Japanese style. So I really wanted to like hone my craft there also because I'm inspired by, of course, I'm inspired by Emi Sakura. I'm inspired by guys like Balian Aki who came from India and then went to Japan to become a wrestling star also. So I
Yeah.
want to be able to experience wrestling in Japan. Honestly, that is like besides going around Southeast Asia, Japan is my goal.
Oh, brilliant. And if anybody has been listening to this, like, right, I want to check out more JDL, like, what match of yours would you recommend they go try and find? Like, what matches do you think back of, like, they're some of my best matches?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure if it's still available right now, but definitely the match with TJP back at PW Homecoming. That's one that I think people should check out. I'm not sure if it's still available. But besides that, if you go on my YouTube or like go on PWR's YouTube, there is my match with Shao Kat. Definitely, there is the tag team match that I had with Vlad Sinsik against Masa Takanashi and DJ Nira. I also really like I really like for people to watch my matches, series of matches against Andruew Tang, Trexxus, and Locomotive in SPW. But the one match I think that people, if they want to know who JDL is and what, like they'll understand who JDL is. That three-way match against Trexxus and Andruew Tang, that shows me just how much of a like the term is called P noise, so like a very annoying Filipino. Because I was in Singapore, I needed to like be the be the bad guy there. So I definitely like I definitely brought out the Jollibee and made fun of the Singaporeans. So if you want to like see an idea of like the wrestling character JDL, definitely check out that match from SPW where it was me against Andrew Tang and Trexxus.
Oh, fantastic. And where can people find you on, again, social media? I know you mentioned your Twitch earlier, but you can plug that again. And
Thank you.
yeah, where can you find yourself?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Senorito JDL. Of course, I mentioned Twitch. I'm also at Senorito JDL on Twitch. I also have a Pro Wrestling Tees account, but I think a lot of it is in the States. So if you're in the States watching this, you can get some of my t-shirts on prowrestlingtees.com/Senorito JDL. And yeah, just like if you want to hit me up or like email me about things, it's senoritojadl@gmail.com. So there's a theme there. It's all Senorito JDL. Doesn't really change much.
That's good.
If you think I'm on social media, just look for at Senorito JDL. I'm probably there. That's probably me. Probably me. So you know.
Oh, brilliant. And what streams have you got upcoming?
The streams I have upcoming, like I have one on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Well, Philippine time anyway. It's I'm gonna stream another. Well, I'm gonna keep streaming my retro game, which is A Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I'm gonna keep playing that until I finish it. And then obviously on Saturday again, I'm gonna do the Nuzlocke. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get like a schedule with Ken so that we can do like a. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Brawlhalla. It's basically like a. It's like a Smash. It's like a Super Smash Bros. Knockoff. I don't know if I can
Okay.
say knockoff, but like it's like Super Smash Bros. With different characters. There's some WWE characters also there. Ken actually went and bought John Cena and Roman Reigns, so I've been trying to like set a schedule with him to stream that. But yeah, just check me out on Twitch. Just check out my social media. I usually announce everything there anyway. I'm pretty sure people are sick of me announcing whatever I have on social media. So just keep an eye out there if you want to know more about what is happening with JDL's life.
Oh, fantastic. So make sure you do go support him as well. Pro Wrestling Tees, go have a look at his merchandise on there. And go check out the Twitch, especially if you're into Pokemon. Block rules. Go see JDL cry when he loses somebody else. And
Yeah.
if one of your Pokemon gets of cats, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. I definitely want your Pokemon to be named after me.
I'm
But no,
gonna get to it. Don't worry. I'm looking for like a Pokemon that can handle Dragon type. So I'm gonna name him Kurt. Don't worry. Don't worry.
that's good. As long as it's not Magikarp, like I do not want to be
All right. Yeah.
Magikarp. Like it'll be cool when you evolve it to Gyarados, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, yeah, thank you for coming on. Like, it's been really fun talking to you about the Philippine wrestling scene, about your career, and about the Twitch streaming as well. So again, thank you for that.
No, thank you also, Kurt, for having me. It's been a great time, and thank you for giving the wrestlers from Southeast Asia a platform to talk about whatever it is they're going on with their lives right now. So thank you so much, Kurt, and all the best to your show moving forward.
Oh, thank you very much. So, everybody, if you've enjoyed that interview with Jake DeLeon, again, make sure you go follow him on his different social medias. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. I've been Ken Johansson. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.